Desmond Dekker.
Yeah.
He is still with us, I believe.
He is still
with us. When I say with
yeah.
us, I don't mean here with us right now. I mean on the planet.
He's still with us. He's still gigging, I think.
Still gigging.
Yeah.
He's going to die with his boots on, isn't he?
He is.
How old is he, do you think?
I reckon he's probably in his late 50s, early 60s now. He must be.
I would have thought even older than that.
Getting older?
Speaking of old men, Rob Brydon is here. Rob's... Rob, how are you?
38.
38 years. Wow, you look a bit older than 38.
That's very unkind.
It's
That's
true, because
very
I'm good for
unkind.
I look younger than 38 and I'm 43.
You're dressed like a peacock on a Saturday morning when
Of course
there's
I
no
am.
need for it.
Hey, I've put on weight there, Rob.
I prefer you with a little bit of weight
Do
in
you?
you. I thought you looked a
You're
bit
a chubby
too thin.
chaser.
I thought you looked a bit too thin on your TV show.
A bit
yeah.
gaunt.
Yeah, like you had an illness you didn't want to talk about.
Yeah, there was a period when Frank Skinner looked like he was going to go any second, wasn't there?
Lord, yeah, what happened to him?
Well, he's put it back on now, and we all feel more comfortable in his presence. Where there was a time we think, get the drips in. Rob, how are you? You well?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good
yes.
Christmas?
Yeah, it was a really nice Christmas, very relaxing. And,
You spend it, I guess, a lot of time with you got 3 boys, haven't you? Is that
I've got 2 girls and a boy,
I didn't-
so they won't take that very
Well, I've never met them, so they can forgive me, I'm sure. It's not like I've seen them and thought they're butch.
You know, one was going to come in with me today, my eldest, and she was naughty, so she couldn't come.
I would have thought she was naughty, all the more reason to bring her along. How old is
She
she?
didn't want to come anyway.
How old is she?
9.
9? No, that's not that
Yeah.
old.
And my 4-year-old only eats bread, so I was... I listened to what you were saying earlier with some interest, Jonathan.
Yeah, well, bread, it seems to be, for children, it's like the last stop, and if they won't eat anything else,
yeah.
especially white bread.
But it's no good for them. I mean, and it is, yes, white was not even an interesting bread.
It's probably better than crisps, isn't it?
She likes crisps as well.
Listen to her. Well, now there's a surprise.
Oh, but you feel like you failed as a parent, don't you, when your child is just sitting there going, give me more bread, give me more bread.
Oh, well, I don't know, because they look over at me and I'm doing the same thing.
Oh, are you?
I'd like a bit of bread as well.
You never know.
But you must like bread.
I can't eat bread. I'm allergic to yeast.
This has got to be the worst interview we've ever done. Can we all start again? This is the worst interview we've ever done, Rob. And normally you're so sparky.
Oh, cute. Last time I came in, I thought it was very subdued. I thought the two of you had a row. Yeah.
We probably had. Yeah, we go through periods.
I seriously did. I was last on. It was the last interview, and I thought, all right, here we go. This will be fun. Yeah. And I got a real distinct impression there was an atmosphere.
Well, we get to the end of the show sometimes, and Andy starts withholding his affection.
Is it for your own good?
And then afterwards we'll have a hug, and it's all fine again. We put it behind us. Rob Brydon is due to start. This is a weird thing. I watched your show, your new show you've got coming on last night, and I found it very amusing. It's quite gentle.
Yes, it is.
Very funny, and you warm to it, you grow to understand it more on the character. It's called Director's Commentary. I thought, okay, this is going to be on, maybe BBC Two, possibly BBC Three, one of those shows. It's quite interesting. ITV1.
ITV1, it's a bold move for ITV1.
It is very bold for them. Hats off to them. Plaudits all round. Congratulations, ITV1. It's doomed to failure, obviously, but, because you're getting the CD audiences over there. They're tuning in, no voting, turn over. You know what I mean?
Well, we do, I think, didn't he say that? It's called Director's Commentary, and it's a spoof of the Director's Commentaries you get on DVDs.
DVDs, yeah, exactly.
And I play a character called Peter Delaine, and we take these classic shows like Bonenza and Mr. and Mrs., we do one on that, and he says, now, when I directed this, it was a wonderful scene, and he talks about the ABC ones and the AB ones and the C2 viewers and stuff.
It's quite a smart show, is what I'm saying. I'm sure there are smart people who watch ITV. I don't want to be totally dismissive. Even we tune in occasionally, don't we? But, it's like you suspect that it's...
I know what you're saying. But then you think about stuff like, in America, Seinfeld, which was a very intelligent show, was not just... popular amongst the so-called clever types. It was the number one show.
What a great show
in the country. Yeah. So it is possible, although...
Do you see what Rob's done there? He's just compared his new thing to Seinfeld.
Yeah, he has,
He said he's created the British Seinfeld.
No, don't get me wrong.
Clearly, see how it comes in a... No, one of the 9-year-old didn't want to come
Jonathan, don't get me wrong, it's better than Seinfeld.
It's kind of very... it's very strange. It takes all... Because I expected to see Peter Delay, but essentially you are watching an episode of an old show, and then you are talking over it, and it's a bit like... It reminded me somewhat of my favourite novel, Pale Fire, by Vladimir Nabokov, in that the subject matter only works when you put it together with the other layer.
That's what I thought when we were making it.
So here you've got the Bonenza,
yeah,
which in itself is not inherently amusing.
Yeah.
And then you put it together with the voiceover, and it's only the juxtaposition of the two.
Well, without that, there'd be no humour. I mean, these old shows, they're like sort of visual Walliams in a way, because they're so slowly paced and the characters are so defined. There's good people and bad people. Nowadays, everything is very morally ambiguous, isn't it, on television? You're never quite sure where you are. But this was, he is a good man, he is a bad man.
Very clear-cut.
Yeah, and we would sit there doing it and just sort of get wrapped up in the show because it's so sort of quite relaxing. I almost send you off to sleep.
But you didn't go to sleep, fortunately, because that would sound like we're not selling the show here.
Exactly. Oh, no, that's just to watch the show. As you yourself said, once you put that commentary on.
Oh, you can't resist.
Whoa.
Now, Peter Delaine, presumably this is a new comic creation for
Yes,
this.
yes.
Have you invented a backstory for him in your head? Do you know where he came from?
Oh, yes. Peter sort of started out in the 1960s and worked extensively with Ian Ogilvy in the early days, and then was desperate to work with Ian for longer, but Ian ended up working with Peter's great rival, Terry Dixon, who I always imagined to be a sort of so one of these London guys who ends up talking a bit like, what's that photographer called? Terry
Donovan?
Yeah, no, not him, the other one, the one who sounds a bit like Michael. Terry O'Neill. You know those guys, those sort
Terry,
of...
because Terry Donovan's sadly no longer with us.
Exactly, yeah. And I talk like that. And I always imagine he was Peter's big rival. And Peter sort of went off to America, did his American shows like Bonenza and what have you, and did the costume dramas, always missing out on the really big jobs.
He's like many of the characters you play, he's kind of unaware of his own...
That's all I can do,
I'm not trying to say that, but
it's true. It's true.
You see, he's putting himself down.
What do they call it?
Self-deprecating.
Self-deprecating.
Self-abuse is an entirely different thing, and I won't hear a word said against it.
I know that.
So Peter Delaine is out there. He's working on the Bonanza. He's working on the other was the Duchess of Jupiter.
Duchess is a wonderful show.
I'd forgotten that ever existed.
Yes.
But I must admit, part of me wanted to see that untarnished.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. You do. You watch these things. You don't get telly like that anymore.
You certainly don't.
Everything now cuts so quickly, doesn't it? We did Duchess of Jupiter for a very, very good reason. We couldn't get clearance on upstairs, downstairs.
But I mean, it was. I was watching it last night and I thought, well, this is the poor relation to upstairs, downstairs.
Absolutely. We also do flambards. Do you remember that?
I don't remember flambards.
Or as your brother calls it, flombards.
Flombards, yeah, well, it's common like me. Flambards,
yeah.
And what was flambards?
Well, it's a poor relation to the Duchess of Duke Street.
It's even further down the list.
It's kind of between the Duchess of Duke Street and the Onedian line.
I used to love the Onedian line, though.
Yeah.
Oh, can you remember the theme of the Onedian line?
No,
that's Robinson Crusoe. How'd it go?
Do.
Now that's close.
It was a bit like the Robinson Crusoe.
But the Onedian line, we all used to sit down as a family and watch Sunday after, no doubt, a kind of poverty-stricken and nutritionally dubious tea. Normally jam sandwiches.
Bread again.
It was jam sandwiches for tea. Who'd feed their kids jam sandwiches?
But look at you. You've grown into... I'm the one who's stunted.
I'm the
and
bus.
you are the one who looks like...
Because you don't get as much sun in Wales. And that's something to do with it?
I was underground a lot of the time.
And like an iguana, you need the sun rays to build up the calcium in your bones.
Exactly. That's right.
God, we're educated people today, are we? Let's have another track. We'll talk to Rob some more after this. What were we going to play now?
We can't. We've got to go to the news in 45 seconds. Unless you've got a 45-second
What happened
track.
then? That was quick. We filled so much time.
Flew by, didn't it?
Yeah.
But it always does in your company.
Oh, you're very kind.
Well, now, we've got something special to play after the news, haven't we, Rob? You've
I
brought
brought
something
in, yes.
What is it?
Years ago, I think it's 1988.
You were a DJ where?
I was a DJ, and you'll hear me, and I brought this in, and I sound like this. I sound like an absolute idiot. I sound like a kind of a wannabe Toby Anstis kind of guy. Imagine that. And going to be talking to you in a little while. My guest, Jonathan Ross. Don't know if you caught The Last Resort last night. He's a great guy, and I really suck up to you, and it's embarrassing.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. This is from 1988.
I would think so, when you had Mel Brooks on.
I'm kind of worried that you've saved it.
Exactly. No. I saved some. You were one of the biggest guests we ever had.
Oh, well, God bless you. OK, well, we'll play that after we chat a little bit after the news. 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC. A little bit of Elvis there. And you know, it's funny you played that because I bought an Elvis album today, Tiger Man.
All right.
That's
which
good.
is one of those new albums. But look at Elvis there.
Great cover, isn't it?
One of the best presents I got at Christmas. And I got from a friend of mine called Susie, who you know. But I also got given one by David Walliams.
Yeah.
After the event.
Oh,
so
he didn't
get
give Elvis fashion.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't get it for you. I thought you'd already have it.
Oh, well, I did already have it.
Have you got two?
Yeah.
Can I...
Well, I promised it to someone else.
Oh, great.
I might keep it.
Why bring it up?
Well, anyway, I brought it up because the clothes in it are fantastic.
I'm about 71 on.
I'm just going to take it to my tailor and say I want one of everything. Fantastic. There's one that's got a full-length leather trench coat in red with huge shoulder flaps, and there's a picture of him where he'd seen a road accident and he'd stopped to see if he could help, walking up in a full-length leather red trench coat with a torch and a police badge out.
Is there anything I can
Imagine
do
that, you've just had an accident, Elvis walks up in a floor-length leather trench coat with a high collar going, I saw him nice to spin on a handbrake turn.
Who are you doing now?
Never mind. You say that. Your impersonations are
My
rubbish.
impersonation of Elvis is world class.
All right, let's have a little bit of it then.
There's a guy who said one time, you never stood in that man's shoes or saw things through his eyes.
Chris Eubank.
Oh, that was... You know damn well that
People
was...
That's not bad,
I think I've
actually.
got Chris
Not
Eubank.
bad. It needs to be a bit deeper.
I can do it.
It does not need to be deeper. You are falling into the
Go
common
down
trap.
Go down a little octave.
Going down like that and start talking like that.
He's ruining my impression.
He's turning in his very big grave.
Actually, that is good.
White Adam's outside. He thinks Elvis is turning up. He's excited.
So he got you that book, and I
don't go all like that, like you're tired out already. Good Lord, you're meant to be a guest. Turn it on a bit. Come on.
What the listener doesn't realize,
make with the funnies.
You glanced at the clock then, didn't you?
Well, I'm multitasking here.
Should we play this interview?
Well, let's have a little bit of it. So this is Rob. You set this up for us.
Okay, 1988. I was a very bad disc jockey on Radio Wales. I'm not saying
Radio Wales. Where were you based in Wales?
Cardiff. So I'm not saying. Can I just say now? I think I'm a prat on this. Okay, I'm not proud of it, but I thought it would fill some time.
No, well, don't do it like that. I'm delighted you brought it in.
Wait till you hear it.
But I wasn't in the studio, was I?
No, it was down on the telephone.
And this was to promote the.
And tell you what, it was a Saturday morning, so it would have been, the equivalent with hardly any listeners
of this show.
Of this, yeah, it would have been a Saturday morning thing, and you'd done The Last Resort the night before,
right,
and we were thrilled. I mean, we really were, because in those days you were big news, and we were thrilled to have you on the phone.
I was the Vernon Kay of my day.
You were.
You probably were.
I was like Andy Peters.
Yeah,
in so many ways.
Toby Anstis.
Okay, well, let's. This is a young Rob Brydon talking to a young Jonathan Ross.
There's a bit of music at the front.
Okay.
And that worries me already, because you say that was the Mirrors that...
that dates it perfectly.
I don't remember them.
That's better than carbon dating.
Here we go, anyway.
Do you remember this song? I don't remember it.
No, do I? Presumably you had quite a specific playlist that you could draw for.
I just used to want to play Elvis and stuff.
They are the Mirrors over Kiev and Take Me Down. Right, who's sexier, Jonathan Ross or Bruce Willis? We've heard from our Vox Pops, it's sort of 50-50 at the moment. To find out what the man himself thinks, we say good morning to Jonathan Ross. Hello.
Good morning, Rob.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good show last night. What happened to Mel Brooks?
Well, it was my fault, I think. Sometimes I fall asleep during interviews and I didn't see them winding me up saying the show was going to end. So, but it was a very funny story. You missed a wonderful punchline.
Yeah, what happened in the story?
My voice hadn't broken.
Neither of mine.
He was very good, very funny man.
He's a very, very funny man.
Listen, Jonathan, we've been, wanted to find out who is sexy, you or Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I've been wanting to find that out as well.
Well, have a listen to these people.
You know what?
Okay,
I don't.
I'm
brace yourself. Feeling the will to live. Leave me.
I prefer Jonathan Ross because he's just nice looking.
We could finish now if you want, Andy.
We should go. Where are these girls now? You didn't.
These are in Cardiff.
Are they still? Do you think they still feel that way?
What are you going to get up to today? Then? I mean, what happens to you after you?
Oh my goodness!
Tonight, the Bruno Bugner boxing match this evening.
Yeah.
Let's take this off because I fear that we're veering dangerously close to self-indulgence, but we're enjoying that tremendously. That's painful.
It is painful.
But both of us are
because I was going to bring it in last time, and I listened to it, and I thought I can't bring it in. It is painful because you think, oh, what an arse.
But we're both arses.
I know.
I'm going to watch the Bruno Bugner boxing match.
I think I went in that one. Bugner was past his prime as well. But here's the thing that's just occurred to me. What? Do you think in 15 years' time we'll listen back to this and think the same way?
I think we will. That's why I stopped doing the radio, because whenever I would listen back to it, I would enjoy it when I was doing it, but I would listen back and I would think, you absolute...
But presumably that was because you kind of had to do that, didn't you? I mean, that's what radio was more like back in those days, wasn't it?
Well, I suppose so. It's just it sounds so kind of high-voiced and gosh. And we were thrilled to have you on.
And me as well, though. I'm all like, I had a very good night last night.
You were more polite than you are now.
Yeah, I was, the real me hadn't come out. He was buried deep, deep inside. Well, that is really quite something.
Yeah.
And look at us now. I'm fantastically well known and doing very well, and you're here.
I'm here.
No, you're doing great. I love Marion and Jeff, as you know.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the Keith Barrett show.
Thank you very much.
Now, when does that begin?
Well, we're shooting it a week to Tuesday. And then I think it's going out somewhere near Valentine's Day, but you never know.
Was this this was the stage show you did?
It's an extension stage show. The idea being that the BBC have said, BBC Two say, let's have a discussion show about relationships. Who's going to present it? And they ask Linda Barker, and she can't do it. And they ask
Snip, snip, she's away.
Yeah. Exactly. And they, like they do nowadays, they say, let's get that guy from the reality show. Let's get that guy who did the thing in the taxi. He's divorced. Which I think is very plausible. Jeremy Spake went off and did his... And they say to Keith, do you want to... He goes, well, I've never done it before, but, it sounds a bit of fun. I'll have a go. Why not?
And in the stage show, didn't you took questions from the audience as well as a kind of prepared material?
Yeah.
Do you have an audience here for this?
Yeah, this will be a studio audience.
So it's kind of like Vanessa Feltz's kind of thing. Or Kilroy.
Esther is the... Remember Esther did an afternoon show? That's the one I always remember. So we have Richard and Judy coming on to talk about their marriage, how they've kept it together. Keith goes out and we do some VT packages. It's just what would happen if this man were put into a BBC Two kind of reality kind of discussion show.
And is his show called just Keith?
The Keith Barrett Show.
It's the Keith Barrett Show.
Yes.
Keith, I think, would have been better, frankly.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
There's still time to change it.
I would go to Keith, because, like, Esther is Esther. Trisha is Trisha. Vanessa was Vanessa. It wasn't the Vanessa Felt show. Keith's show would be just Keith.
That's a very good idea.
And that's inherently more amusing, isn't it?
That's a very good idea.
Very good. Well, they might think
Do
it's
I
like
get a
Boyzone.
I get a writer's credit now, don't I? And some percentage of the DVD
well, you get a percentage, certainly.
Because, like, Ricky Gervais, he still hasn't paid me. And I told him years ago, I said, yeah, I worked in an office once. It was funny. Look what he's done with that. And now what? He's multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
He's at home with the servants as we speak, being massaged. And what did he send me? Nothing.
It's actually a very good idea.
Yeah, okay. I've got some more for you.
I'll go
here.
with that, okay.
I've got another one here.
Okay, what?
Reality show involving Brydon becomes a Morris dance.
That's a nice idea. Do you know, who's got a pen?
We
Anybody
follow
have a
your...
pen?
This is like an Alan Partridge sketch. I saw you in an old Alan Partridge the other night, bizarrely. Whenever you tune in there, if you channel hop at night, which I like to do, and, you know, you spend a little time dwelling on Avago, watching the bingo, and then you maybe go to Baywatch.
Steve first did that
see
for a
what
while,
Babe
didn't
for. Last night on Baywatch, one of them, I swear it was Olive from On the Buses. I swear. And she was the one they didn't show in close-up. You know, you've got all these girls, and they're going, hello, give us a call now. We're being very naughty. You know, they're complete idiots, bless them. And then you see a close-up of them all, and bottoms and parts being shown. There was one down the bottom corner, slightly chunky in the rest, wearing National Health specs. I was saying, go on, put her up. This is the only one I'm interested in. Didn't show us. No close-ups.
What was this, Baywatch?
Baywatch. Have you not
What
seen
is that?
Baywatch?
No.
It's on one of the very, you know, as you go into the higher end... of the digital channel selection. Once you get up in the hundreds you know, you've gone past the proper shows. And Men and Motors even, you're leaving that long
What
behind.
about the religious channels?
It's as if you're on a cruiser and the beach, which represents BBC One and BBC Two, you know, that's the firm land, and you're drifting away.
From the shore.
Further and further away, and you think, all right, well, who knows what lurks out here? And then you see Baywatch, Avago, shows like that. Digital shopping channels.
Yeah.
Marvellous stuff. Anyway, on one of the channels, they seem to be showing Alan Partridge all the time.
Yes.
And I saw the episode where you have the very funny run-in with Coogan, who you still work with, I believe.
Yeah. I haven't seen him for ages. He's in America all the time now.
What's happening with him out there? He's got a movie coming out this year.
He's done Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan. There's a great story that I can't tell you, but...
Oh, well, thanks for that, then. So that
with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's made everyone listening feel very included in your world.
No, I'm being very natural. I'm just telling you what's on my mind.
Never say that, Rob.
Well, I've said it now.
There's a great story I can't tell you. That's horrible.
Do you have fact sheets?
Yeah, well, we could. Maybe
we could do a fact sheet.
What, and send it out to people
Yes.
after? What, do we need Coogan's permission? Is that why, or is it just filthy?
No, it's someone comes out of it in a poor light.
Who does?
I can't say.
Well, if you're not going to tell the story, at least tell us who comes out. Is it Jackie Chan?
No.
It's Steve Coogan comes out of it.
No, he comes out of it in a very good light.
Well, who comes out of it bad light?
I can't say.
What do you mean you can't say?
He's the governor of California.
That's great, isn't it? Ryan Adams' new singer. That's Ryan, not Brian. I think he should change his name.
It's Ryan.
I mean, I've got nothing against Brian Adams. You know,
out
obviously,
Monday.
that Robin Hood song was a nightmare, but...
Robin Hood song.
You know the one I mean?
Yeah.
Robin Hood.
Well, not that one.
Okay.
The other one.
All right.
Well, don't jump
No
in
need to turn on me.
I didn't was that turning on him?
Slightly.
Thank you,
Well,
Andy.
you can shut up as well, big head.
Ooh, meltdown. Having that blast from your past has really got to you, hasn't it?
Actually, I did unsettle me.
I think I've come out of it quite well because I've grown into this comedian. You are basically still doing the same stuff you were doing then, and it hurts
See what
you.
he's trying to do there. You see what he's trying to do? He's trying to undermine me on my own show. Because you know why?
Why?
Because he looks like Leonard Rossiter.
I don't look like him. My God.
I love Leonard Rossiter.
I'm doing him. My God.
Oh, I thought it was Elvis.
My God.
I thought it was one of your voices again.
Doing Leonard Rossiter.
It's like you're channeling him. It's
He
like
never
a
said
spirit
my
guy.
God, did he?
My God.
Do you remember that bit where he said...
Oh, Mrs. Jones.
he's off again. Unbelievable.
Do you do the black bloke from Rising Down? Can you do him?
I'll do Leonard Rossiter if you'll be quiet for a
I
second.
don't want to Leonard Rossiter. I don't want to do Leonard Rossiter. It's easy. That was my bit of Jamie Oliver in there as well, wasn't it? Put it in the walk.
How many Sony Awards have you won?
Dozens. I've created it because, you know, they're sort of like Perspex.
Is there a new category?
Yeah,
I've made an igloo out of them in the garden. When the kids are naughty, I make them sit out there and say, look, go on in the Sony igloo, think about the error of your ways. Rob Brydon is to be seen on ITV1 from the 28th of January in Director's Commentary. So what time of night is that on?
That's the coveted 11 o'clock slot.
11 o'clock slot.
Yeah. Well, I think it works well there. I mean, it's a sort of show that you watch.
It's a late-night show.
It is, yeah. It's a kind of show.
But it's funny.
Thank you.
And then you'll be on with the now named just Keith on BBC Two.
Yeah.
Is it BBC Two?
I believe so.
But you haven't filmed it yet?
No, we filmed it week Tuesday with a studio audience.
And you can do it kind of as live and knock it about like that?
Yeah, and then cut it down into shape, yeah.
OK, and will that be a one-off? Is that intended to be a series?
It's a one-off, and if it works, and if everyone is happy with it, then, let's do some more. And if it doesn't work, let's not.
But I would imagine you're in an enviable position in that you know a lot of people, you're respected as an actor as well as a comedian, so you get offered film parts, you get offered TV roles, you have lots going on generally.
There's hardly anything that I see that I want to do. There's something that came along the yesterday that looks quite interesting, but by and large, I'm not offered, I'm at a certain position, aren't I? So I get offered some stuff. I get offered more than this person and not as much as that person.
Who are those people?
More than Toby Anstis and less than Hugh Grant. And
there is a bit of Hugh Grant about it.
Well, thank you very much. Excellent. I'm doing Hugh Grant.
That's good. No, we knew that.
Gosh, thank you. Yes. Anyway, so generally and I always think the reality of being on a film or something is horribly early mornings, sitting around doing... And the first thing I always think is, I'm sitting in a trailer, it's cold. Is it worth being there? And quite often it's not.
That's why people make so many films in America, I guess. Because it's just sitting in the trailer, but it's warm.
Yeah.
And it makes all the difference, doesn't it?
You do think of things like that, and maybe I'm not cut out to be an actor. I don't know.
Yeah, you're not the first person I've heard say that about you. Most of the directors who work in TV have said that.
It's true.
Well, we managed to shape a performance out of what he gave us, but it wasn't really there.
Very true, very true.
It's not. Don't be silly.
No. What about David Walliams? Are we going to give him some more publicity?
David Walliams, star of Little Britain, overrated comedy show Little Britain on BBC Three and BBC Two at the moment. A close personal friend of both.
He is. He came for lunch on Boxing Day. Mm-hmm. And it was all going very well, because he's very entertaining company.
He's marvellously entertaining company.
But then he had the idea, and my kids were loving it. He was doing bits from Little Britain. He's going, ooh, carrot cake, have you any nuts?
He actually, because most people who, taste a bit of fame or get popular, they kind of don't mind doing a little bit for their kids, but often, forget it. Walliams, you can't stop him.
He does it as we walk down the street. Ooh, I'm a lady,
And even children start saying, yeah, it's enough now.
He was doing all this stuff, right? The kids were loving it. And then he had the idea, I'm going to pick Rob's kids up by their ankles and swing them round. Great, they loved it. Then he said, I'm going to do it to Rob. He picked me up by my ankles, and it was great. That was fine. We all enjoyed that.
In his world, that passes as foreplay, though, don't you?
I know that very well. Later on, then we have lunch. He does it again. To the kids, after they've had lunch. I said, that's enough
Not
now.
After lunch.
No, let's stop now. He won't stop. Later on, as it's getting to bedtime, he does it again.
Yeah, you see.
And we really did genuinely fall out over it.
I did that once to some kids in the garden at some children's party. Someone else almost dropped him on a bit of stone floor. Got that close to killing someone's kid. I thought, oh, God, that wouldn't look good. No. I'm not worried about the kid. They can make more. But I was a bit worried about how that would look in the papers. Yeah. I was concerned.
We made it up now,
Let's
though.
hush that up.
It's good to see him being successful, isn't it?
He's going to be huge, I suspect.
Yeah.
He'll look back on both and he'll forget all about us.
He has already.
But
he's always behaved as though he were a big star, hasn't he? He's always carried himself as though he were a big deal.
Well, that's probably a good way to live your life.
Yeah.
Rob Brydon is on ITV on the 28th of January. You can see that, tune in for that. How many in that series, by the way?
7, I think.
7. And how long? Is it the half hour, was it?
Yeah, half hour. So in the first half you get one show, let's say you get Mr. and Mrs, in the second half you get Bonenza.
Oh, you do Mr. and Mrs as well?
Yeah, that's very funny.
Oh, I'd like to see that one.
Well, the whole idea of a director's commentary for a game show is absurd.
But Mr. and Mrs was a great show.
Derek Beatty, mind how you go.
And didn't he run the TV channel that produced it, I believe?
Yeah, we had to get his permission. We had to get his permission to phone him up in Florida.
Mr. and Mrs.
Be nice to each other. Does your husband snore? Would you say A? Yes, he does snore. Sometimes he does. He does. B? No. He's not really a snorer. I wouldn't say that my husband snored. Or is it C? Sometimes.
That's what's missing.
Well, I'll tell you what is missing, is the contestants are not there because they want to have their own show on Channel 5. They're there just because they've come along, and they're a little bit sort of nervous about it. And they, hello, Derek, nice to be here. And there's a lovely innocence about it.
There's that great line from the American version, like the Newlyweds Game. Have you heard that joke?
No.
What's the most unusual place
yes,
the two of you have made love?
Yes.
And the answer she gives, I'm afraid, is not suitable.
I know.
For a family show like this one. Rob, always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Never at all. Let's get together. Come round. Let's swing the kids around a bit.
Aren't we going... No, are we not?
Oh, yeah, you're coming out to do the Oscars.
Yeah. Well, not the Oscars themselves, but...
no.
Where are we? We're not at the Oscars, are we? Well,
let's explain this, because otherwise it sounds kind of very grand, and we're not that grand. For the BBC for the past few years, I've been lucky enough, ever since I mugged Barry Norman for the film job, to go out and cover the Oscars. Yeah. So basically, I sit in a small hotel room quite near the Oscars, watching on a TV screen, and in the commercial breaks comes around and going, well, that was good. Cher's dress was lovely. I'm going to ask Tom Conti here what he thinks of that. Well, that was... Oh, we're going back now to the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, or it's now the Kodak. And that's it. And it's great. It's a great way, because essentially, and it's lovely.
Who's doing it?
Well, this year, Rob is going to be joining me for part of it, which is marvellous, and also Alistair McGowan and Ronnie Ancona.
So an 11-hour flight with Ronnie. I'm looking forward to that.
Good Lord. Rather you than me.
Are you not going to be with us on the same one?
Of course not. I'll be up front. I'll be in the front of the plane. What are you talking about?
Are you the Sky Marshal?
You know what? Sometimes they even let me go in the cabin. I landed the last one and apologised for the bumps. You ever seen them land a plane? You ever been at the front?
Of course I haven't. Most people don't.
I tell you what, the pilot do bugger all.
Can you arrange it this
time? It's all
time?
done by computers. I went up there, I thought, what's going on? They're not touching anything. They're all sitting back having a chat. The plane's just going down, levers moving by themselves. I thought there was a poltergeist up there. It landed.
On a tractor beam, like in Star Wars, don't they? They get stuck on this beam. And that's in Die Hard 2. They altered the angle of the beam. Do you remember?
Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid.
Isn't that what happens?
If you can't enter into a conversation in a mature and adult way, then don't bother.
Are there propellers?
This is awkward now. Because we could have ended a couple of minutes ago and it would have been on a high.
Yeah.
As it is now, when he goes, everyone's going to say, well, hope they don't get him back in a high.
Shall I do Leonard Rossiter?
Yeah.
My God.
I'm going to track him. Thank you, Rob.